school comes back. That's foremost, first and foremost. But in your honest opinion, what are you expecting, especially after this dead period is over? Are they really going to allow teams to start getting back together if the high schools aren't together?
Well, read something earlier about what the NHL plans on doing. Like, they're only going to allow like 6 players on the ice at a time, and I think that's what you're going to see at a high school level. Like, they can only practice in like small groups. Like, for football, like maybe one day like it's quarterbacks drill, and then running backs and receivers are out there. Like, they're not going to have everyone out there at the same time. Like, workouts are going to get spaced out, I think. So it's all about athlete safety, and I think one way you can do that is separating practices, and of course, having like masks available, gloves, hand sanitizer, all that stuff ready to go to combat the virus.
So, Bruce Bear, we're going to go with you, my friend, and all this. Again, you're part of the Triple S, the Smithville Selma Spartans down there in Smithfield, North Carolina, and your fantastic better half is part of that as well. That's where we get our inside sources from your better half over there. But what is Triple S saying in this entire process? Have you had any conversation with them moving forward about all this?
No, they're first off, they got a new head coach that's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big things that is a concern right now is, they didn't do spring football. Mm-hmm. And I think personally, being originally from the state of Florida, where they've had spring football as far as back as 1972, and even up to now, and then they had 2-a-days, but in the summer. But I think if we can get the teams in on the 15th, then they can go over what they were going to do during spring, and then they can go back into their summer camp when they actually come to camp, and they got time to do that too. So, but right now, I mean, one of the things that's a concern. I mean, like you said, my wife, she's the chorus teacher there at Triple S, and one of the big concerns is, when you have a chorus, you got a lot of people in the room, and they're close. You got the alto section, you got the soprano, the tenor, and the bass, and they're all together in one big room. You got maybe 30 or 40 people there. Well, so that's a concern right there. And right now, that's one of the things that my wife is kind of concerned about, is how they're going to manage doing that, and it hasn't really been discussed very much. She's over here nodding her head to me. But one of the things, you talk about the masks, and you talk about, the gloves and all that. But another thing that they can do is, when the players, before they hit the field, you can take their temperature, and make sure everybody's clear of any, temperature. And if they're showing a temperature, then you have to, set them aside, and get them checked out, everything. So that would be another way for them to be checking players. Check their temperature before practice, check it after practice, and just, that's another safe way of doing it. And that's another safe way, even if they start the season, you got your fans coming through the gate. Why can't you check their temperature? Stuff like that. And if somebody's got a temperature, hey, look, for safety reasons. And I think everybody would understand that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I truly, truly hope, and this is the football fan in me coming out, not the sportscaster or whatever. I want to see some football, and I mean it, every level. The Southeastern Conference is already starting to talk about, hey, we're going to play. So I really want to see that take place. And right now in California, it's up in the air whether even the colleges are going to play.
Well, so, a lot of the local or the smaller Division II, Division III, these programs are closing down because of all this, because the money aspect of things. But Daniel Moore, before we get into, I know you got the article up, and we're going to let you read a few here in just a second. Brandon White, can you give us an update about what's going on during the race right now?
Well, I guess this is breaking news, but Chase Elliott holds off Kyle Busch to win the $100,000 bounty.
There you go.
Kyle Busch made a charge at the end, wasn't quite enough, and now Chase Elliott is going to donate $100,000 to a charity, to a COVID-19 relief effort of his choosing. So congratulations to Chase Elliott.
Well, there you go. That's exciting. We're going to welcome here in just a few moments Wesley Atlan, who is live in Charlotte for FS1 and MRN. We're going to welcome him here shortly. But Daniel Moore, you got the article right in front of you, right?
Yes, sir. Finally, my laptop decided to work with me.
There you go. Give us some kind of key points of about this article.
Right. So as we discussed, it was moved from June 1st to June 15th. So like you said, from that point up until that point, there's no contact with any players or anything. Q Tucker, the commissioner for the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, had to slow that one down to get it out. Tucker says the intention is to move forward with the June 15th being the day that dead period ends. During that time, the NCHSAA is working on minimum guidelines for memberships to follow, or for members to follow. Guidelines are a minimum standard. So basically, they're working on the standards and exactly what they're going to do once this June 15th hits, and they really have to decide for sure how they're going to move from there. They're still exactly deciding on that. They did come out and say also, this is high school rookie, like you said earlier. They also did come out and say that they have not entertained moving the seasons at all. So as of now, they're on track and planning on getting everything rolling as they would as if there was no coronavirus in 2020. So
the great thing about this article, it just kind of gives us a little bit more clarity about what's planning on happening. It gives us a date to say, you know what, we now have a game plan if we can get back. And of course, as a broadcaster itself, of course, I want to be back tomorrow. I miss my times where I can call basketball 3 nights a week for high school, and then during the weekend call for professional basketball for the basketball league. But of course, we want everybody to be safe. That's the game plan. And Bruce Barrett, like you just mentioned, we can kind of take temperatures of all the players, of fans walking in if we have to keep fans away, but during just at least for the first couple months until everything kind of starts going down. I'm perfectly fine with, because just having some sorts of sports back and rolling, it just makes the world just a much better place.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you look at the auto racing and the race that just completed, and congratulations to Chase Elliott. I'm sure he was thinking a whole lot about Kyle Busch being behind him. But anyway, after last week. But, it's just, this is a big thing, and race. A lot of people are now watching racing that probably never watched. Well, it's live. It's sports. It's back, and people are excited about that. And I'm sorry, you say what you want to, but high school football is pure football. And I'll say this about you did say earlier that I'm a big Triple S guy. My wife teaches there, but I'm going to say this, and I actually used to be a substitute teacher, and I'd substituted over at Clayton High School on several occasions. Clayton High School, their school spirit in that school is second to nobody on this planet and Mars. I don't care what you say. It's unbelievable, the school spirit. The community schools, they don't look at Clayton High School as being their high school football team. They look at it as being their town's football team or basketball team. I mean, we did the playoffs, Trey, with Clayton, and followed them on their fantastic run they had this year. Whether we were at home or on the road, some 50 miles away or so, we brought truckloads of people to those games. And I mean, they are so they're just tight, and they root for their team, and they're there in force. And that's, to me, that's a huge thing for the school, and the community. When you see that outpouring of school spirit and community pride, I think they're second to nobody when it comes to that. I've enjoyed being a part of that.
And Clayton High School and the community of Clayton is the reason why we wanted to bring CRN to Johnston County, reason why we wanted to go back to Clayton High School. There's been opportunities for us to kind of go away. But we look at it and say, you know what? Clayton High School has given so much to myself and Wesley Outland, of course, co-founders of CRN. And we couldn't do it without any of our great broadcasters, our partnership with you guys, Brandon White, Daniel Moore, Bruce Barrett, Mike Guerin, all the way in Ringgold. He's in Tennessee, but and it's just one of those situations where you build something, you build it. If you build it, they will come. It's one of those situations where
Field of Dreams.
That's right. That's exactly right. Did you know the baseball? My tangent here about baseball. The minor league team down in Iowa is renting out their stadium for $1,500. I got an Airbnb, $1,500 a night to rent the entire stadium. By the way, I mean, I'm down. I'm just saying, do a little wiffle ball tournament.
There you go. There you go.
But Clayton itself, Clayton High School, and the community of Clayton, North Carolina, is just outstanding. And
no question.
It's fun to be a part of, and I'm looking forward to be able to get back in front of the fans, back in front of the school system itself. And I'm telling you, it's an exciting time. So we're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back from break, we are going to welcome Mr. Wesley Outland all the way from Charlotte. He was at the race this evening, a fantastic race. You heard some breaking news from Brandon White just a few moments ago. But we're going to take a quick little break, but I promise you we'll be right back. This is the Roundtable Discussion right here on CRN. Looking for a life insurance company that specializes in what you actually need? Protection. Call Danny today with Symmetry Financial. Danny is certified in all 50 states, which means Symmetry Financial is not limited and has over 30 companies to choose from. Symmetry Financial has proved time and time again their options and pricing is just better than the rest. Give Danny a call today at 828-994-1681 to see how Symmetry Financial can make life simple.
Unforgettables. Nice. This show is sponsored by Unforgettables. Unforgettables creates detailed hand-painted baseballs for every baseball fan. Check them out at unforgettables.com.
This is CRN, the Community Radio Network, the voice of the community, the voice of anything sports, and proud to be the voice of the Comets. Follow us at crnsports.org. Now let's get back to the broadcast coverage on CRN. And welcome back to the Roundtable Discussion right here on CRN, part of the podcast platform. Make sure you follow everything we do at crnsports.org and across social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also about 100 different podcast platforms.